Make some noise from the Energy Action Coalition. Tar Sands organizer, make some noise for Kendall Mackey.
What an amazing weekend we've had together. Before I start, I want everyone who brought 5 people to PowerShift to put their hand in the air. All right, everyone that brought 10 people to PowerShift, keep your hand in the air. Yeah? All right, those who brought more than 25 folks to PowerShift, keep your hand in the air. I want everyone to give it up for all the amazing organizers who made PowerShift happen this year. Tribe known as the Waorani and their fight against an oil company at the time called Texaco. And Texaco for years had been intentionally dumping toxic waste into their rivers and streams and dumping billions of gallons of crude oil, polluting not only the land that they were living on, but the communities, and impacting their health. So I'm reading this book about this tribe sitting in a hostel in Quito, and a guy comes over to me and he's like, hey, did you know that the man on the cover of that book is sitting at the table over there? And I look over and it's Moy, the leader of the Waorani tribe in the Amazon. So I stand up, I walk over and I introduce myself, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting across from him at dinner, and he's telling me the most amazing stories about the organizing that's being done to fight this oil giant in the Amazon rainforest. And at the end of the meal, I looked at him and I said, Moy, what can I do? And he said to me, you can go home and you can tell your friends, your family, and your government about what's going on down here. And the next morning, I'm writing about this experience in my journal, and I realized this is something I could keep to myself. I could write it down, close up my journal, and never think about it again, or I could decide to do something about it. And that's when I committed myself to fighting oil companies who are destroying communities all over the world. That's what put me on the path that I'm on today. That's what got me to PowerShift, and that's why I'm working for Energy Action Coalition to fight tar sands. As we all know, oil exploitation is not something that's just happening somewhere else. It's happening right here at home and in Canada. And President Obama has said that he would not approve Keystone XL if it didn't pass his climate test. So here's what we're going to do. Tonight, right now, you and I are going to take the Keystone XL climate test. Are you ready? Yeah. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you all a question, and you're going to tell me whether or not Keystone XL and tar sands pass or fail Obama's climate test. And here's the thing. I'm going to need you all to be really loud. Like, loud enough so that Obama down in D.C. can hear what you're saying. Are you ready? Are you sure you're ready? All right. Let me just get out. He sent me this test, so let me pull it out. Okay. The first question, tar sands oil doesn't have significantly higher emissions than regular crude oil. Pass or fail? Let me hear you one more time. You're right. Tar sands emits 3 times more carbon into the atmosphere than conventional crude oil. All right, next question. Keystone XL won't add significant amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Pass or fail? You're right again, it fails. Over its 50-year life, the tar sands pipeline would add an additional 1.2 billion metric tons of carbon pollution than if it was carrying conventional crude oil. All right, third question. You guys are doing really well. If Keystone XL isn't built, tar sands will be transported to the Gulf Coast by rail. Pass or fail? All right, one more time. Fail. Transporting tar sands by rail is more expensive, making tar sands prohibitively more expensive. All right, last question. Tar sands will be exported even if Keystone XL isn't built. Pass or fail? All right, this one's really important. Pass or fail? That's true. As we already heard, Canadian tar sands has not been moved, led by First Nations, on either side of the Canadian East or West Coast. All right. President Obama stood in front of the American people and said that if Keystone XL failed his climate test, that he would not approve it. And as we just showed, the Keystone XL does as poorly as I did on my standardized tests in high school. It doesn't make the grade, and it shouldn't be built. While making sure Keystone XL doesn't get built is the first step in our fight against tar sands, let's get real, it's not the only tar sands fight going on right now. You can ask Chloe Gleichman, who's in the audience, working in Michigan to stop the Enbridge expansion that would destroy the Great Lakes, and has been spending countless hours with Michigan Coalition Against Tar Sands to make sure that that project does not move forward. Or Judith, who we heard from on Friday, who talked about the struggles that refinery communities are facing as extractive industries are coming in and continuing to poison their communities. Or you can just ask the people in Arkansas and North Dakota who recently have discovered what it means to have tar sands spilling in their backyards. It's clear that our fight against tar sands isn't over, and we've got a lot of work to do. But if anyone has the power to keep the tar sands in the ground, if there's anyone that's going to win this fight, it's the people in this room. In the last year, I've seen amazing young people take direct action in places like Michigan. Take Chris, for example, who spent his birthday last year literally skateboarding down a construction site, stopping the construction of an Enbridge pipeline, and keeping a climate-destroying infrastructure project from moving forward for one more day. Or Sean Carland, a student from Maine who spent his entire summer going door to door, making sure that Mainers get on election day and end the threat of tar sands to the Northeast. And thousands of people who put their bodies on the line in front of the White House to stop Keystone XL, which at the time was considered a done deal in Washington, D.C., and has turned it into the zombie pipeline that is all but dead today, were mainly college students, many of whom were in the room and spent countless hours organizing for Power Shift this year. From Richmond, California, where they've seen the devastating effects of an overcapacity refinery, to Houston, Texas, communities are fighting back to stop tar sands, and we are making a difference. With a slight shift in our priorities, we as a country can move away from the energy paradigm that we're on today and onto a path of clean energy where Crystal's community and Helen's community and Moya's community and my community are no longer at the thumb of the extractive industry. Today, we have a choice. Either tar sands move forward, taking our climate and our communities with it, or we do. Instead of pipelines and refineries crisscrossing and dotting our country from the East Coast to the West Coast, from Canada to the Gulf, if we band together and work harder than we've ever worked before, we'll get the clean energy infrastructure of tomorrow that we so desperately need for our climate, our community, and the economy. So here's what we're going to do. Between now and November 16th, we're going to build thousands of climate legacy time capsules. These time capsules are going to be buried along the pipeline route from Alberta to the Gulf to show the president and the tar sands industry writ large that we are not going to let them move forward in bringing that dirty energy through this country. Now, you may be wondering, what is a climate legacy time capsule? So let's bring one out. Give it up for Andrew, everybody. Thank you. I'll hold it. This climate legacy time capsule has been with us all weekend, and in it, it holds our climate victories, hopes, and dreams that we've built together over the last 3 days. When you go home and make your own climate legacy time capsule, it can be as easy as gathering up all of the flyers from the events that you put on your campus and in your community, stuffing them in a beer bottle, and sending them to me in Washington, D.C. And when we get them, we're going to put them on display so that every leader, every level of government gets to see it. And then when the ground thaws, we're going to bury it along the pipeline route so that if President Obama is serious about building this pipeline, he's going to have to he's going to have to dig up our climate legacy and bury his own. So if you're in to make a climate legacy time capsule and send it to me, if you're in to take down the tar sands industry, and if you're in it for the long haul, I need you to get out of your seat. This is so amazing. I will see you all in the streets tomorrow. Thank you so much. And a quick note, if you want to volunteer for the action, please meet at 9 a.m. at Allegheny Landing. Thank you so much.